is Friday, July 20th, 1984, and the Reverend Sun Myung Moon is going to jail for the 6th time in his life. Respectfully bowing to one another in the traditional Korean manner, his family readies itself for his long absence and reaffirms its support of him. For government prosecutors, it is a day of victory, and perhaps for scores of Americans, their hearts will gladden with the news on their television sets. But for members of his church, it is a time of new determination. He was born January 6, 1920, in Jeongju, in the province of Pyeongbuk-do, in what is today North Korea. The second son in a family of 8 children, his parents were simple farmers who were referred to by what is known in the Korean as those who could live without law, distinguishing them as people who could live by conscience alone. When he was 10 years old, his family converted to Christianity, and those who knew the young boy testified to his profound seriousness at that time. I had a very strong desire to live a life of high dimension, he told a group of followers in 1970. I started praying for extraordinary things.
A dream that in one sense I grew up with, because it was a dream that inspired a young farm boy many years ago in the hills of North Korea when he went up and prayed sincerely, yearning to liberate the suffering heart of God. And that night he made a promise. He made a promise to God, knowing all too well the challenges that he must face in his lifelong journey. Throughout the duration of his life, to spread this message of one family under God, he has been incarcerated 6 times. He was incarcerated by the communist regime of Kim Il-sung and sent to the Hungnam death camp, where on average a person could live only for 1.5 years. He was incarcerated there for 3 years of his life. He was incarcerated another 2 times in Korea before he went to the United States. In the United States, he was incarcerated once again, something that my family is very familiar with because we used to go and visit him every single day in Danbury prison. And my father always assured us that God has greater plans, and that even though we bear this cross, that greater blessings shall come in which his will shall be done. And it was because of the incarceration in Danbury prison in 1984, an year which was a tragic year for my family, because that was the year that my older brother was in a devastating car accident, and my parents had to offer his son to heaven. Shortly thereafter, he went to Danbury prison. I remember that day when he had to go. He gathered the family. And he said, "Do not hate America. For America is great because of the promise that it holds in its covenant with God. And that covenant is etched in its founding document. That we hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. And although there is an injustice being done, that as long as this nation stays true to these principles, that justice will come. That farm boy, by the way, those many years ago, who received that revelation to create one family under God, is my father, the Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon. I remember that day when he had to go.
Será